Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And in part 3, I'm going to show you how to build all of these different mesas and canyons like we've seen in the first part here. This is kind of a cool water feature. And so we're going to walk through how to build these. So in the second part rather, we cut out the foam and I told you that we were going to do this. And so I shot all the footage and then I lost the footage somehow. I'm not sure what happened. So this is kind of where we're at with part 2, but we're going to actually use this piece here, and we're going to sort of start off from where we left off at the end of the last video. So that is, we're going to start building some of those mesas and some of those rock formations. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece. This is going to be our base piece. And I promise we'll get back to this. We're working our way back to that. So we're just gonna do this so that you don't miss out any of the important parts. So I put my live edge on the bottom of this piece. There it is, like that. All right. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this piece of tin foil. And what I like to do is I thought maybe not only are we gonna do like one of those mesas, but maybe we can do like some sort of an archway, kind of like what you see in the Phantom Menace for the race, the pod race. So I thought that would be kind of cool. And since it's Tatooine, and since it's definitely it's definitely something you see in the landscape, I thought maybe we would try our hand at that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to make maybe some sort of an archway. I'm just going to rough it out with the tin foil. All right, so something like that. All right, so you pick how you want it. I think I'm going to have it kind of go like that, maybe. All right. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take your trusty glue gun and you're just going to glue it in place. All right. There's a first dab there. So this is going to look like those water features. We're just going to sort of connect it in the middle and make an arch. Okay. So just a couple little dabs of glue. We're going to do that. Okay. There's that. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to start building it up now with our homemade paper mache. So in a couple of the other diorama videos we've done, I've shown you how to make this paper mache. And this is 2 rolls of toilet paper, about 3 cups of hot water, about 2 of the cheap glue, and about 5 pumps of dish soap. And I also tinted it with a little bit of paint to give it almost that sort of sandy color. And this is the consistency you want. It holds a shape beautifully. You can roll it into balls. It holds its shape very well. It's very much like biscuit dough. Maybe if you were ever to make biscuits or something, it has that nice beautiful. It doesn't get all over your hands. It's really great stuff. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that. We're going to take this, and we're going to start by taking our stuff. And we're going to start molding it. So, obviously there's all kinds of rock features and formations that we get. And we're going to kind of just start to use our imagination and take the paintbrush. What I like to do is I like to sort of make the different sizes and all of that, all right? And then you're going to start pressing it into the tin foil. And we're going to start kind of building it up as you would imagine it to be. But remember, it's going to kind of come down on the sides and all of this. And then you're going to take some more. And you're just going to start to sort of press it in, making sure that it makes good contact with that aluminum foil. You definitely want it to be in contact with it. Make sure it gets in all the little nooks and crannies and things. And what you're going to do is just going to start using that aluminum foil as the skeleton for this. Give it some support. All right. So we're just going to rough it in right now. You don't have to worry too much about any important detail features, but what you want to do is kind of do that. And even in just a few seconds, I think you can start to see that it starts to take shape, all right? And so I always kind of like it to, I want to have it be sort of imagine if water and wind erosion. So you'd almost want like a ridge to the top of it, So you're going to start to rough those types of things in. You're going to continue on with it like that. And this is, again, of course, there's really I've always said there's no wrong rocks, right? Like this is nature. This is an alien planet. I mean, we're familiar with what Tatooine looks like, but at the end of the day, there's really no such thing as a wrong rock. It's going to be what it is, right? So time and wind and different conditions shape rocks. So who's to say that your rock is not right? So, but having said that, you still want to follow some basic rules of nature. So you want to think about how the rock might be affected by wind and erosion and things like that. You want to take these pieces and just keep going like that. And you can start to see, these with your paintbrush. You can kind of start making what kind of looks like dunes or rock features or those types of things. And so this technique is great for Tatooine, of course, but this is also the same technique I use for making my Hoth Wampa caves, Yoda caves, and things like that. This is just a great technique to do it. It's a solid thing, and just depending on the final texture that you put on it, it definitely looks very convincing. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more here, and then you can kind of see. And then I'm going to show you how to put the texture on it. All right. So once you get this roughed in, then you have to start thinking about, well, what does it look like? And we've all kind of seen pictures of the West where you have those mesas and there's those geographic striations, those lines, and sometimes there's different colors on the lines, or but it looks very much like different layers of sediment have carved into it. And so what you want to do, like on this here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you have these lines of striation, right? That's what I'm talking about. How do you get those lines? So you continue on with this, all right? And you keep following it until you get it to where you want it, okay? And you kind of just keep on pressing it into that tin foil. And then you get, eventually, you get to what looks like this. And you get the basic mound, all right? And that mound is very, very simple to create. You just shape it into these types of almost like Play-Doh mounds, okay? And then the way you get the striations is super easy. It's super, super easy. You just take a sharp edge. You take, like, for instance, I've got this letter opener here. You can take anything, a knife or whatever. And what you do is you just start tapping it. You just start tapping the rock formations like that. And very, very quickly, you can start to see that even the most basic shape, you actually kind of want an unfinished look. You kind of want your paper mache. See how like these actually start to look very much like geographic features and rocks and crumbling and decay and all of these things. And you just take your knife and you just keep pressing it in like this all the way around, and you want to make sure that you follow the lines kind of all the way around it. And then you come on this side and you do the same thing, right? And you just press it in. It's such an easy thing to do. It looks so awesome when it's done. And people are like, oh my God, you're so unbelievably, how did you figure that out? It's like the easiest thing in the world, right? It's kind of like cake decorating. Like decorating a cake is a fun thing to do with frosting and stuff, but most cake decorators will tell you that the secret is in the technique. Once you get the technique down, it's super easy. Like with anything else, I guess. But there you go. So you're going to take your straight edge, knife, razor blade, butter knife, whatever you have. I've even used a piece of cardboard paper, like thin cardboard paper, to do this. Whatever you have, you don't need any special tools. And then if you look very carefully, you can see that it really starts to look like your water features or your canyons, right? And that's it. You just do it on the outside, you do it on the edges, you do it on the top, and you do it on the inside. And then what you do is you allow that to dry. And then once it's dried, you take a couple of colors What I did was I took this wash, essentially. It's a little bit of glue, a little bit of this color I got from the paint store, a little bit of black that I got from the paint store, brown, and a little yellow. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You just get a couple of different colors of beige and black and brown until you come up with a color that is kind of what you've got in store for your Tatooine. And even though it's a little bit dark on the initial run, you're going to lighten it with the weathering powders and the sand. We haven't even applied the sand or any of the spices that we're going to use. So in part 4, we're going to start to finish this out. But again, this is how you make those simple rock formations and how you get this. So you just take your paintbrush and you get the color that you've made. And what you do is you just start dabbing the paint on it, okay? It can be the oldest, crappiest brush you have in your collection. It doesn't have to be anything good. And what you want more than anything is you don't want to paint all the features. You want to leave plenty of that lighter coat that you painted on first. You want plenty of that to show through, because what that's going to do is it's going to provide a lot of variation as we start to weather it, okay? And then we're going to start adding the little granules of garlic and spices and things, which make for the perfect size rocks. So that is how we get here. I'm so sorry I lost the footage on how to do this, but hopefully this sort of solves that riddle and cracks the code. It's very simple to do. So stand by for part 4 when we really get into it and we start putting a lot of features and details, and we're going to finish this one as well. Thanks.